In this video, we discuss the management of a petrous dural AVF. You note that the dural AVF is supplied with the petrosal branch as well as the parietal branch of the left middle meningeal artery. The meningo-hypophyseal trunk also contributed to the dural AVF supply. The venous drainage was into the deep venous system, and there was stenosis in the vein that was draining into the deep sinus. The subarcuate branch of the left ICA was also supplying the dural AVF. This branch supplies the petromastoid canal and the dura. We also noted flow-related aneurysms. We planned for a dual simultaneous Onyx injection, and therefore one microcatheter was placed in the petrous branch and was planned for a pressure cooker technique. Another microcatheter was placed in the parietal branch of the middle meningeal artery. We would like to have the microcatheter positioned as close to the fistula as possible. Notice that the petrosal branch is quite tortuous, and in order to place the microcatheter distally, one has to take the intermediate catheter, here 044 DAC, as high as possible into the middle meningeal artery. Injection from the microcatheter shows a high flow fistula. As we had placed the microcatheter in the petrosal branch, and there's always a worry of Onyx refluxing proximally and causing occlusion of the vital arteries supplying the cranial nerves, it was planned for a pressure cooker technique. With a 5F envoy placed in the distal internal maxillary artery, another microcatheter, a Marathon 1.5 French, was navigated close to the fistula site to enable deployment of coil. Sometimes it can be quite challenging to navigate the loops, and the techniques that we have used are having a guide catheter distal, followed by a use of different variety of wires, including 008 hybrid, 007 hybrid, and in rare instances a synchro 10 and as well as a traxus are quite helpful in navigating these tortuous anatomy. Note the deployment of the coils proximal to the fistula site. Now another microcatheter, again a Marathon 1.5 French, is taken into the middle meningeal artery, posterior division. Again, this was also quite tortuous artery. We used the access of a 5F envoy to place this microcatheter there. Again, sometimes these loops can be quite challenging to navigate, and we did use a synchro 10 micro wire, which tends to torque better, and we were able to navigate these loops and reach the fistula site. In this particular patient, we had a guide catheter placed in the vertebral artery through a radial approach, and two guide catheters from the femoral artery to place these two microcatheters. Following that, Onyx injection is performed simultaneously by two operators. Notice entry of the Onyx at the arteriovenous junction and into the vein. Now there's reflux of Onyx into one of the microcatheters. Note entry of Onyx into the foot of the vein. Following that, you notice that Onyx is entering into the collaterals from the ICA, and then later on you notice Onyx entering the collaterals from the ICA, from the vertebral artery as well. Having a good idea as to where the ICA feeders and vertebral artery feeders join the fistula is important for safe Onyx embolization. You notice stasis in the ICA aneurysms. This is the final Onyx cast. One can appreciate from the Onyx cast that there is stenosis of the vein just after the origin of the vein. The post-procedure ICA vertebral artery and the ECA run shows complete occlusion of the fistula. We do give Clexane, a low molecular weight heparin, for 48 hours post-procedure and follow it up with aspirin for 4 to 6 weeks to avoid thrombosis in the draining vein.